Foreclosure rates are on the rise across the country, particularly here in Florida. According to real estate experts, the Sunshine State leads the U.S. Lenders in Florida started the foreclosure process on 1 in every 1,800 homes last month. And Tampa has seen the highest rate in the country. Fox 13's Aaron Mesmer shows us what experts think is driving these higher than normal numbers.
From 2020 to about 2023, home prices soared across Tampa Bay. Some families who bought their homes back then are now facing a harsh reality.
They would have to sell at essentially the same price they bought for because there has been a declining market. So they would need to bring roughly $10,000 to the closing table in order to avoid a short sale.
St. Pete realtor Mia Annabelle with Smith & Associates explained what can happen next.
By the time we get that net sheet, they're negative. They can't sell, they can't afford the property.
And that can lead to foreclosure. Florida saw more foreclosures than any other state in October, according to Adam Data, a real estate analytics company. Tampa had the highest rate of all major cities, with 1 in every 1,373 housing units in foreclosure. Experts point to skyrocketing property taxes and insurance costs as major factors, but that's just the beginning.
It's really all prices and all costs associated with housing, whether it's HOA, whether it's interest on mortgage payments, whether it's interest payments. All of those costs are going up.
On top of that, daily expenses are up too. USF economist Michael Snipes says those added costs are often a big problem for retirees on a fixed income.
It's a huge investment. It's a huge source of spending for a lot of individuals. It's a huge part of their income. So any small change is going to be felt particularly acutely by individuals who might not have a whole lot of money.
Realtors say the best advice for families worried about foreclosure:
have the conversation sooner than later. It's not going to go away. Sometimes we get called in and it's to a point where the bank has already started the process, and that gets very tricky.
In other
words, too many people overpaid for their properties and overpaid for their houses, and a lot of people also banked on property values continuing to go up. We had a lot of fake investors / realtors / flippers, and I warned people on the Millionaire Morning Show that never to invest. To invest, right? It's one thing to look at Florida as a place that you want to live, then you have to count the costs. Property taxes, insurance companies are pulling out. I love Florida. I'm actually scheduled to go and visit Tampa next weekend after the holidays, but is it a place that I would invest in? Absolutely not. So when you're looking at it from that lens, never do that. And it's a lot of people that are now under water, and they're losing their homes. And then you combine that with the possibility of getting laid off, fixed incomes. And don't get me wrong, again, weather-wise, it's a great place to live. But when you think about it, the first thing that I look for, and maybe this is a little bit too much information because I start to deep dive into this in the Patreon, the first thing that I look for when I'm looking to invest in a property in a different state is what are the insurance companies doing? And if the insurance companies are pulling out, which they are in a lot of places over in Texas and flood zones in Houston, California, obviously, all of these coastal places. You're also talking about Florida. Then that is going to translate into a lot of foreclosures, a lot of affordability problems, and people are going to see a property value collapse. So if you are looking to bank on the fact that your home could possibly go up in equity, and then you combine that with the fact that a lot of people overpaid for their properties during the pandemic thinking that that was the play, then you're going to be in trouble. And now you see the market basically collapsing on itself in certain areas, and Florida in particular, and there are some parts of the Carolinas who are experiencing a record amount of filings. And then the part that they're not telling you about is there's also a record amount of people that are trying to sell their homes all at the same time. So, whether you're in Tampa, whether you're in Orlando, whether you're in Jacksonville, or you're in Miami, you are probably experiencing some form of price reduction and the value of your property aligned with the market in Florida. And so a lot of people overpaid, a lot of people couldn't afford it. And then we'll sit here and say, hey, man, we don't have enough homes available for sale. Yes, we do. We have an affordability crisis. People overpay for their homes. instead of being patient and practicing group economics and paying attention to the market and educating yourself, everybody went out and did the same thing that everybody else did, and now you in a situation, right? And so it's unfortunate that we have to experience this, but I learned my lesson in 2008, and I would never, ever, ever see myself suffer that way again.
Your money matters to us, and tonight there are new signs the economy has homeowners struggling. Foreclosures have increased for the 8th month in a row nationwide.
Callan Gray is here with how Minnesota ranks and what you can do now if you find yourself at risk. Callan?
A mortgage expert I talked to today tells me Minnesota is doing better than other states, coming in at 31 on the list of 50 states. Overall nationwide, there were more than 36,000 foreclosure filings last month, a 3% increase from a month ago and a 19% increase compared to last year.
Crazy.
Even though the numbers appear to be daunting, they're relatively low, and it's nothing compared to 07, 08. This is really a normalization, back towards a normalization post-COVID.
What he means to say is it's supposed to be a market correction, meaning that this is what homes are supposed to be priced at, and this is what people are supposed to be experiencing when it comes to purchasing a home. And so they're using that as a way to justify that fact that a lot of people couldn't afford it. And in order for you to have some form of correction, a lot of people got to go through it.
We've had just a tremendously low number of foreclosures.
David Jameson owns Edina-based Rainbow Mortgage. He explains during COVID, there were low interest rates, moratoriums preventing foreclosure, and lenders were working with homeowners to postpone or reduce payments temporarily to help out, and that all kept foreclosures to a minimum. While any increase will seem significant because of that, Jameson says this is still something to keep an eye on because the economy is playing a factor, from people losing their jobs to the cost of food and gas to increasing homeowners insurance and property tax rates. So what can you do if you're at risk of losing your home?
The best advice I can give people is don't ignore it. It's tough. I understand that it's tough. If you have a lot of equity in the house, for sure, reach out to your lender, see what they can do.
If that doesn't work, he suggests the following. Reach out to government assistance programs. Ask family and friends for help to tie you over. Contact real.
Yeah, I don't think anybody needs advice in this situation. It's really just recognizing and not following the same patterns and not suffering from the same thing that you did before. Unfortunately, for a lot of people, especially in certain areas like Florida, a lot of people are trying to sell their homes all at the same time, and it's kind of sort of a race to the bottom to see who can reduce their prices as much as possible, and then that reduce the comps in the area because the value of the home's going down, but at the same time, the property taxes is going up because of the cost of doing business in those certain areas. So for some people, it's going to be a buying opportunity. Again, me personally, I would not invest. Investment, looking at it as what type of income am I looking to pull from these places? They're overbuilt, especially over in the Tampa area and all outside of the Tampa area. The builders are building their asses off down there in Florida and in Tampa. And I think that it's always going to be a nice place to visit. Sometimes I'll even get a place for like 3 or 4 months, depending on if that year during the winter is a time that I want to actually, or I have the capacity to be able to experience that. But at the same time, I would never invest in real estate in Florida. And again, people need to start looking at these places as your home. Some people overbought the amount of home that they wanted. And we need to live in more affordable spaces and affordable areas and affordable cities, but we don't want to have that conversation either. Let me know what you guys think inside of the comments. Make sure you tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description. T. Chanley, 40% off your first order, 20% off for life. I love you. I appreciate you. I'm going to keep you guys in the loop.